slide. We're live right now.
We're gonna do the exact same thing again.
Now it's more formalized sliding rock slide.
No, that's fine.
Andreas will ask different questions. It's not the same. No. Okay.
We're in the Lego house, and I'm really thrilled to see two people which I'm following online since many, many years. It's Kristal and Jason. So good to see you.
Hi, thanks for chatting with us.
Yeah, and it's great to finally meet you. I've been following your work for a long time as well.
Don't say something like this. But again, I'm really thrilled to see you because you're building such great models. And for me, it's really great that we can see actually some stuff here. But before we talk about the great models here, it's your first time in Denmark, in Billund?
It is, yeah, for me. Jason has been here before, but never in the Lego house. So.
Yeah, I was here a couple years ago, just before the Lego house opened. So it's really exciting to see this place, you know.
And you brought some stuff.
We're lucky enough to be invited to display some of our models here, which you can see in this cabinet. Do you want us to?
We talk about every model, but first the explanation. You're JK Brickworks, so it's the first letter of your pre-names. And so some of those models are of yours, some is your work, or do you work together?
We work, well, a little bit together, but mostly they're independent models. I built the head, the bat, and the goose and goslings. Jason built the Apollo model, the canoer, and the robots and the beaver. And then we worked on the where the sidewalk ends, the static sculpture together.
Okay, then we start right here with the edge on top there. What is going on?
So this is actually based on a children's book of poetry called Where the Sidewalk Ends. And this is one of the illustrations from the book. It's a pencil illustration, but it's a very popular book, as I guess in North America. I don't know, maybe worldwide, who knows. But basically, this is Kristal's original idea to build this model, and she built the head of the little boy at some point and kind of left it on the build table for quite a while, and I kind of just like kept seeing it there. And eventually, I kind of just basically took over this model and got impatient with her actually waiting for her to finish it. So I kind of...
It hadn't even been that long.
Yeah, whatever. And then I eventually kind of built most of it in a night while she was sleeping. And she woke up the next day and she's
surprise!
Like, yeah, surprise, here you go. The build fairies have finished your model for you.
So it's kind of Len McCartney here. Great cooperation. So this looks really great, and I like all those small builds there. So it looks like Manhattan for me.
Oh, I guess it could be, but it's not intended to look like any particular city. And we just tried to, I don't know, get some nice little details in there to make it, give it some variety. It's actually quite an old model, and it's really interesting to look at it now, for me anyway, to compare to some of the, like there's no curved slopes in there, like some of the more recent pieces. When I think about how I might build it, or how we might build it today, it could be a lot different, actually.
Do you change parts of your builds, or do you think this is done and now it's finished and we leave it this way?
Yeah, absolutely that. I don't think it needs to be improved by any means. Even though I see like it looks a bit dated in terms of what parts are in it, it definitely stands alone, you know, as it is, and it doesn't need to be updated.
And now we get here, this is studs not on top, so it's not technique there. Who's responsible for this one?
Oh,
it's you.
It's me, yeah. No, this is my imagining of what's inside the mind of the Lego artist. So the head actually closes and opens up to reveal this kind of creative, wild scene inside the mind of the Lego artist.
So this is Jason.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Pretty much, that's Jason.
I think it's more Kristal.
Yeah.
I would never come up with something as creative as this, I don't think, on my own.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, so this is inside the mind of the Lego artist, and you see some monsters attacking a city and a plane trying to save the city. And if you tour around, you see a spaceship and a dinosaur and a bunny rabbit having coffee. And in the back is a rocket and a boat and a very large garden scene as well. So.
What I do like here that you use so many colors. I think Lego is about colors, and even those are sometimes very technical models, you still have a really nice feel to putting all the great colors together.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really fun build to make, and the first in actually a series of 3 heads like this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it looks amazing. I think she did a great job with it.
I love it. And now we come to a model which I think we've shown on Zusammengebaut, because this is a boat you've shown, and there's a nice story behind it, because this can move.
Yes, absolutely. Like most of the models I make, I try and make them move in some way. And this is celebrating part of Canada's history. A couple of years ago, it was Canada's 150th anniversary. And as part of that entire year, we built a few Canada-themed models, and this was one. And we were out canoeing one day, actually, and I thought, oh, it might be interesting. Canoeing is a very repetitive motion. It might be interesting to try and replicate that with using Lego. And so as soon as I got home that night, I was fiddling around with, Lego Technic bricks and trying to see if I could replicate the motion. It turned out pretty well, I think. If you want to see how this moves, you can find the video online and look at it.
Of course, we'll add your YouTube channel in the description below and show you a great YouTube channel. We'll talk later on. But a boat does float.
Oh, this boat
On bricks.
yeah, it does not float, but it was pretty interesting. Like, I wanted to show the mechanics underneath, so I have the water like floating, but all of the mechanics are still visible underneath. So when it's moving, you can kind of see how it all works, which I always find is pretty interesting, and I think people enjoy being able to see exactly what's going on. And there's some iconic imagery in this to celebrate Canada's history. A big part of our history in the formative years was the fur trade. And so these are fur traders who are trading basically beaver pelts, which you can see in the front. There's also a Hudson Bay blanket in the back, which is the yellow mound with the stripes on it. And that's a very iconic image within or from Canada's history. The Hudson Bay Company is still around today. And this was like a very iconic blanket that they sold with the very specific color pattern of stripes on it.
Please check out the original video of Jason and Kristal, where you can see in the YouTube channel how this works. And this is fascinating to see, and I could never do this. So it's always great to see such like people who can create something like this. And then we have another model here, and this is of yours.
Yeah, this is my fruit bat. We were in Australia a couple of years ago to go to Brickvention in Melbourne, and I was so amazed with the fruit bats there. So when we got home, I started studying pictures of fruit bats, or YouTube videos of fruit bats flying, and attempted to replicate their motion in this sculpture. Yeah,
That's a lot more complicated than you might think. Kristal watched a lot of footage of bats flying to try and figure out how to kind of replicate that motion using Lego bricks.
Instead of sleeping, watching YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a video also, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's a video that explains how this all works as well.
We'll put this in the description as well, so you can see how this, because right now we cannot see how it moves, because this is awesome as well. And then we have a second row with sculptures. What have we down there?
Yeah, so this is a new model. I haven't posted it all anywhere yet, and this is a kind of a vision of the future where the only life that exists anymore is this artificial life in the form of these two robots. And they're basically sitting beside the fire telling stories, and they're telling stories about these legendary organic life forms that used to exist in the world, which of course are these humans, and there's trees there. Kind of, they're conjuring up this image of the past out of the fire. And the scene in the middle of the fire rotates, and all the flames rotate as well when you turn a crank in the back or put a motor on it.
Awesome. So we'll see a video in the future, but right now this is you can check it out in the Lego house here, the Masterpiece Gallery. And then we get some animals.
Yeah, and then we have some more Canadian themed animals. There's a beaver here, and then a goose and some goslings, which are very iconic Canadian animals. And these again were built as part of Canada's 150th anniversary. And I built the beaver, and Kristal built the goose and the goslings, and they both move as well. The beaver's tail flaps up and down, and its jaws open and close. And the goose is actually motorized. You can put a motor and a battery box in it, and there's little wheels attached to his feet, and it will like wander around the floor. And you can attach the goslings to the back of it, and each of the goslings have wheels attached to a crank, which flap the arms up and down. So it's pretty cute when it gets going across the floor and all the goslings are flapping their arms behind it.
And when you're in the Lego house, you can see a short video here where you can see some motion and what is going on, because this is all very special. And before we come to the last model, which I haven't seen yet also, there's one story which is always fascinating, that you somehow show the people here in Billund, hey, you can make it better. So you've published some videos, some articles where you grab a real Lego set and show there could be some things that we might change. So how does it feel when you publish a video? Do you think, oh my goodness, is there any bad feedback from Billund, or do you think, come on, just watch it?
Oh yeah, I don't think about that at all. I think even Lego realizes that like you can never make a perfect model. There's always some concessions with, especially for Lego. They're under a lot of they have a lot of strict rules about what pieces they can use, what connections they can make, and so as fans, we do not have to obey those rules. So whenever I see a Lego set, you know, I don't buy that too many Lego sets anymore, but some of them still inspire me a lot. And whenever I look at it, I always try and think about, you know, would I do anything different, or, you know, or can you motorize this? Can you make this move, or can it be improved? So.
That's a good word. It's so smooth. When we talk about the Chinese set where you show, I mean, now when you've seen this one, you can still think, okay, the people are running around and maybe it looks different. But when you see your video you've uploaded, you think, oh my goodness, this is the way it should be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got some feedback from the designers on that set after I posted that, and they thought it was pretty cool. So, I mean, which is flattering, because they probably couldn't have done it the way I did it, just because of. But I assume they thought about it, like doing something that smooth, and maybe they just couldn't do it because of some other internal constraints that they have to build by. So. But.
In this case, I think this is the way it should be. But anyway, it's still a warm welcome here in Billund for you both. And the last one we've seen here downstairs, this is of you? Also Jason's. All right.
Actually, the goose and the Goslings was Kristal's model, and the beaver was mine.
Okay. Then one last sentence to those models. Is it fun to build animals, or is it really difficult? Or both?
A little bit of both, for sure. Those are really fun to build because they're fun to play with. The Goslings, especially, the little flapping arms that go up and down. Kids love them. If you are interested in building one yourself, I think we have instructions for the Goslings on our website, so you can check that out.
Really cool little pull toys. You can put a string on the front, and the kids can drag them around. And
yeah, so those are fun to build for sure.
Long description area here down the video. We'll put everything there because everything is awesome you're doing. And we have one more model here in Billund, which we haven't seen yet.
No, this is brand new. I just finished this like a week ago. And this is Apollo, the Roman/Greek god of the sun, riding in his chariot. He rides in the chariot across the sky, pulling the sun behind him. There's no sun in this model, but the horses gallop, and the chariot wheels move, and the chariot moves a little bit as well. But I haven't made a video for this yet. If you want to see it in action, you'll have to come to the Lego house and see the little screen underneath, or I will have a copy of it on display at Scarbeck as well. So you'll be able to see it.
I will.
I will be making a video of it soon, but it may be like another month or who knows how long before I actually get around to that.
And before we finish this video, which is, by the way, John filming from Beyond the Brick. Thank you so much, John, because Matthias is missing this time. We've already seen 2 sets of yours, or at least you've been part of it. Yeah. The maze was your creation. You've been involved too?
No, not me.
Just Jason stopped. Okay, leave, go. No. Please stay, please stay. And the pop-up book.
And the pop-up book, yeah, which I collaborated with Grant Davis. Yeah.
And I have to tell you, finally I received the big printed brick again, the plate, because I used this as on one of my buildings in my city, like advertisement. Yeah. But now I've ordered 3 more, so the book is complete now. But what a great idea! What is it like when you create such a model as a fan, and then you see, hey, this is a real Lego set?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's I think. Most people dream when they're building things as a kid that, you know, someday maybe they could be part of Lego or participate in building a set or having a set released. So for a lot of people, it's a lifelong dream. And I remember when I started building MOCs, like 10, 15 years ago, there wasn't really a way for adults to turn their models into sets. And so when ideas came out, I was pretty intrigued with that concept, and obviously I submitted a few projects, and it worked out really well for me, which is amazing. So I mean, it's it's yeah, I don't think anything can really describe the feeling of walking into a Lego store and seeing like a set that you've played a pretty big role in bringing to life.
And there's one last topic. Again, I follow your work since many, many years, and you've developed something which is very interesting, like sounds and lights. Is this still out there? Do you have still new ideas with it? How do you call it, by the way? I forgot the name.
Yeah, it is called the PFX Brick, and it's part of FX Bricks, which is a company that my friend Mike and I formed. And it is still around. We're actually sold out of all our original inventory, so we've been, well, actually, I mean, it's in the pipeline. There's manufacturing for the PFX Brick happening in China right now, and hopefully there will be more stock within the next month or two. So yeah, it's very much still alive, and we haven't been promoting it much recently just because we have no product to actually sell right now.
Oops.
But as part of that, we're also bringing back 9-volt track in some form as well as part of that.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, so you might be interested to know that in Scareback this weekend, Mike has some, he'll have some 9-volt track set up with larger radius curves than are available from Lego. And yeah, so that's a really exciting thing that he's primarily working on. I'm not really involved with the track part of it because he's a really, really hardcore train fan. Yeah, but anyway, that's both of those things are still happening, and the PFX Brick is really exciting because you can add a lot of crazy light effects and sounds and motion control. It controls motors as well, and you can completely like customize. Like, there's a lot of different logic rules you can control about how it actually does that. So it's very customizable, and yeah, it's pretty exciting to be able to do stuff like that.
And I'm nearly done because I've met Beyond the Brick and we shared some time together. I've met finally JK Brickworks. Now only Jane Bricks is missing and I'm done. So, but anyway, it was so good to see you here in Billund. I love your work. Please brick on and hope to see you around one day soon in the future. It was so good to see you, Jason, Kristal. Thank you so much. This was our little video with the great models here from JK Brickworks. And please check out jkbrickworks.com. See you around. Bye.
Thanks so much for the time.
Yeah.
It was a long day.